These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
Free your mind and the rest will follow. Be colorblind, don't be so shallow. Free your mind and the rest will follow.
Two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everyone, to America's Barley Basket. I am your host, Nathan Fosebuck, and sitting beside me virtually is my good friend, Marlin Wells.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are you?
You know, man, not so good, I would say.
Yeah.
As we discussed prior, I did what maybe amounted to 2 hours of somewhat strenuous manual labor, and feel like I fell out of a fucking helicopter, man. It ain't good. A real eye opener. Real eye opener.
Really seeing things clearly now. Real ghosts of your lifestyle coming to visit.
The end is near. This might be an in memoriam episode next week. And,
well, we're talking about sad music with. We'll have to add a video component so we can put up a photo of you and then some nice script with the dates.
And while we're talking about things we're ashamed of, I think we better address how piss poor of a job we did on last week's intro with the No Diggity.
Oh, man. Blackstreet is rolling over in their grave.
They deserve a handwritten apology.
Yeah, they deserve better. I went back and listened. Like, as I was putting that together, I was like, this is maybe the worst singing job we've done in all 13 episodes of this fucking show.
And there's been some rough stuff before. I mean, sometimes we nail it, oftentimes we don't. So
yeah, it was so atonal and so awful. It sounded like we each butchered it in our own unique way to where it sounds like both of us are singing a different song, and neither of those songs are No Diggity.
It's like we did It's almost like we did like a different genre version of it. It's like, is this acid jazz? Is this what that sounds like? Because it's not R&B.
Just dog shit.
Yeah.
As opposed to our usual pitch perfect performances.
Hey, we promised, dear listener, that we will improve. We will never sing. Well, I think it's pretty easy to say we'll never sing Blackstreet again. They never had another hit.
Yeah, we'll name another Blackstreet song we might sing.
We'll wait. But yeah, I think last week at this time I was lying in a hotel bed, freshly showered, nude, head to toe.
There was word of your dampness.
Roman God. Now here I am. I still kind of smell like bonfire smoke from last night. I made some poor choices.
Like, I also am, like, feeling it today, and except all I did yesterday was spend a slightly longer time than normal on my feet. Like, I was at a wedding. So it was just like, stand around, and then stand around during the cocktail hour, and stand around during the... Like, that's all I did was stand still a little bit more than sometimes, and I feel like someone has driven a spear through my heel. Yeah. Like I rolled out of bed this morning and desperately wanted a cane or some crutches to get to the bathroom. I was like, oh God, I'm gonna die.
I'm telling you, man, you gotta just call me up. I'll bring you my walker.
Oh, good.
Which is always a fun thing to own when you're riddled with the gout as often as I am, and Lord knows I wish that was a joke.
Oh God!
Man, if we ever do a fundraiser episode of this, it's going to be for fucking gout awareness. We got to get the word out. That shit don't play.
Oh fuck! I was just dying. But I stayed in a hotel last night because I went out of town for this wedding, and boy, howdy do I love staying in a hotel. Mm-hmm. I had forgotten how much I love staying in a hotel.
Like, yeah, when people bitch about having to travel for their jobs, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? Like, I've seen where you live. It ain't great. Go to a hotel, man. You could I mean, you shouldn't shit in the bed, but you could. You could shit in the bed. Fucking I pay cash at Motel 6. They have no paper trail.
They don't clean those rooms.
Yeah, just flip that sheet over.
Big fluffy bed, too many pillows, like this, and the nicest hotel shower I've ever been in.
Oh, that's a treat. Like, it's always sometimes awesome hotels have shitty showers, and it's always a bummer.
Yeah, this was like a moderately nice hotel room, but like a 5-star bathroom.
Oh,
and I was like, that's perfect. Like swinging glass door on the shower, like spacious, like I could stick my elbows out and not touch anything. Like a contoured sort of seat that jutted out of the corner so you could sit and just contemplate things, have a nice shower cry.
Yeah. Oh man, and after a good wedding dance, one often needs those the next day because of the hangover.
Yeah, I had a real good one.
Yeah. Why do my feet hurt so much?
What is wrong?
Ooh, my tootsies.
How am I going to get this swollen heel into my shoe? I don't know what's happening.
Oh,
take a good hotel dump. Something about a good hotel dump.
Maybe you flush, maybe you don't.
I have never not. I don't know what kind of monster you are, but I was raised better.
We were discussing what one could do to a hotel bathroom earlier. I was just thinking, you take a huge dump, and then you just take all the toilet paper that's left and unravel it into the toilets. It's just this mountain of flowing toilet. The maid would be so confused. Like, what's going on?
How did this happen?
What's underneath this? It's 5 feet tall. I don't dare flush.
I don't know, man. I think those hotel toilets are really built for speed. Those are rock star toilets.
Yeah, you can lose a watch with one of those.
Yeah, I don't think God himself could plug a hotel toilet. There's no way. And I've put every hotel toilet that I've dealt with through the tests.
That's one of those moral conundrums. Could God build a toilet that even he couldn't plug?
I don't know about you, but when I shit at a hotel, I shit hard.
Yeah.
Come out with a limp, roll my ankle, taking a dump.
It's that Protestant work ethic. Oh shit, you're Catholic.
Yeah,
never mind.
No. Oh God! It's all that concentrated rage or concentrated Catholic guilt builds up in the lower colon.
It's not all the gas station food, it's the guilt.
Oh yeah, it's definitely not. Well, that's funny you mentioned that. You know that I was on a road trip coming back into town today. I am filled to the brim with gas station breakfast pizza and cotton candy flavored Bang energy drink.
Yeah, my blood is 20% zinger right now.
Oh fuck.
On the subject of hotels, I love me a good hotel. I fucking love me a bad hotel, too. I think there's some fun in that, too. A little danger, a little excitement in a shit hotel.
Yeah, a little, it's like a roller coaster or a haunted house.
Yeah, and bro, I am a dirt dog, man. Like, I am sleeping in the sheets. I'm never going to sleep on top. Fuck you, I paid for this. If I get scabies, I get scabies. Let's party. I don't give a shit.
Wouldn't be the first time.
Yeah.
Bed bugs again? Fuck you.
Remember that hotel we stayed in this New Year's Eve, Marlin, at that gig where it was like an abandoned old folks home? We slept in those tiny hospital beds.
Yeah,
I'm sure it crossed your mind. At least 500 people died in the room we were staying in.
Absolutely.
It was a 70-year-old retirement home.
Yeah.
Like they're just hauling people up on the fucking wheelbarrow full. There we are sleeping. Only ones in the hotel. Random dogs. Remember the random dogs? I like a good hotel dog.
Yeah, no, you gotta love a good hotel dog. It's like a mascot. That place was fucking creepy. Like they're like, it's a hunting lodge. No, it's fucking not.
Yeah,
this is a prison.
This is a fucking upcoming season of American Horror Stories.
Yeah.
What this is.
Remember the weird shower stalls? That's just like
you had to like
felt like showering in prison.
Yep, there was a spray bottle with a handwritten note on it that you're supposed to spray down the shower after you use it.
And there wasn't like regular shower fixtures. It was like the metal knob that's on the side of your house where you hook the garden hose up. Like, this isn't a fixture. What is happening?
Just one of the perks of showbiz, Marlin.
Yeah, yeah, living the glorious showbiz life that we do, performing in small town bars and staying in haunted retirement communities.
Just hoping we don't get tetanus along the way.
Yeah, not again.
Yeah.
That place was really something. Everything had the vibe of an abandoned school.
Yeah, that's a very good. Yeah, which. For all we fucking know, dude, that is abandoned school country because those towns are drying up. So
every one of them little towns got abandoned schools all over the place. It's not hard to find one.
And no TV in the room, but a TV like in this weird side living room.
Yeah,
too,
a little communal lounge. Yeah, what a life we live.
Yeah, exactly. Watching fucking antenna TV with ghosts. That's a Saturday night.
New Year's. That's how we rang in a new year. I mean, look at the year that we rang in. But
yeah, no shit. Yeah.
It started with a real bang.
Yeah.
But one thing this year has given us, Nathan, is the gift of The Simpsons.
What? You're sure right, friend of friends.
Yeah, we are getting through we're getting through season 4 of The Simpsons. Today we're doing episodes 8 through 12, and a hell of a batch. I feel like we say that at the beginning of every show now.
But I'm going to be saying that for the next few months, I'm wagering.
Yeah, there was, and this one had a couple that I think among Simpsons fans are classics, would go on a lot of Simpsons greatest hits lists. And the fact that they landed all in one episode of our show, I thought was pretty amusing.
Yeah.
Should we just fuck this dog?
Let's get into it.
All right. Episode 8, New Kid on the Block. This is a Simpsons. How you
holding up over there?
I ate too many sunflower seeds and my voice is a little not great, but we'll get through it. We address, for the first time, or I believe one of the first times, the Simpsons neighbors on the other side of the house. We deal with Ned all the time, but on the other side of the house, that family is moving and selling the house. The little old lady who lives there comes over and asks Homer if he would be so kind as to not be such a dirtbag while they're trying to sell the house, which he has no interest in at all. They show a family there looking at the house, thinking of buying it with the realtor, and they're all but sold until they see Homer naked in a kiddie pool on the other, next door, just drunk, eating a soaking wet hot dog in a wading pool, which would. I mean, that might deter me, or that might be a selling point for me. I might be like, hey, the neighbor likes to party.
Yeah, it depends where I'm at in life.
Yeah. Today, I wouldn't be cool with that. But a couple days ago, sure, why not?
Why not? I'll eat some wet bread. I don't give a fuck.
There's one point where the people moving out leave some, hey, just free, take this shit out on the sidewalk. And it's wire hangers and leftover medication that Homer is excited about and steals, and he's about to take a bunch of. I can't imagine just twisting open someone else's orange pill bottle and taking whatever's in there. Turns out this one was estrogen, and Marge stops him in time.
Yeah, it's not like old women have good party drugs,
Right. What are you expecting to find in there? I guess maybe pain pills, but...
Yeah, that's true,
But also, Homer isn't some junkie. Homer wouldn't be oh yeah, pain pills, I'm gonna get all fucked up. That's not what his voice sounds like at all. But he's not looking to party. He's just ooh, pills.
Yeah, free pills, man. You can't pass them up.
God. Bart and Lisa break into the house, and Bart's doing some kind of some haunted house shenanigans, and Lisa goes running off, and Bart meets Laura, who is the new girl who lives next door. She and her mom, Ruth, have become the new neighbors, and Bart immediately pretty smitten with Laura, because she's kind of like Bart, you know, she's mischievous and kind of tomboyish, and Bart super into all that.
Yeah, that's his type.
Homer, in the meantime, or I believe it's Marge, in the meantime, goes and visits Ruth, who's Laura's mom, and brings a welcome basket, welcoming them to the neighborhood. And it's got like a beer certificate from Moe's and a couple other just little things. Kind of, honestly, not a great welcoming basket.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of just garbage.
A free beer from Moe's Tavern that Moe is only angrily accepts.
Yeah, later when she cashes it in, Moe is really pissed about it.
Yeah.
There is one in there, though, that is a pornographic DVD called Das Butt, which I thought was pretty funny.
for the man of the house.
Yeah, Marge is like, ooh, because apparently women don't watch pornography, whatever. Like, Marge is like, oh, this is something for the man of the house, which I guess is you, because there's like Ruth is divorced and people are weird about it.
Yeah, it was 1993. Middle America wasn't ready for single moms to get into German ass play porn. It just wasn't that time.
You know what? You're right.
We
when
weren't ready for it.
I really take a step back and I'm like, okay, yes, this at this time, not down with that.
I think ass play porn, fine, or German regular porn, fine, but German ass play porn, they weren't ready.
Yeah,
they weren't ready.
They might not be now. I mean,
I don't know. Yeah, you know, the internet changed a lot of things.
I can tell you one thing. I am.
Yeah. I could hear this, like, your heart rate increase as we discussed this. You're in that far off mindset that I've seen before. How much deeper can they plunge? Oh no, Captain, depth charges. Avoid those steel balls.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah. I am ready. If you need to pause the podcast, have a little afternoon delight. Go right ahead.
You know what? I'll get through it. I'll power through.
I appreciate your professionalism.
I'm a fucking professional. There's a B story going on here where Homer wants to go to the Frying Dutchman, which is an all-you-can-eat seafood place. Good name. Big fan of the name.
Yeah. This actually reminded me, Marlin, of nautically themed places. You and I once did comedy in my hometown at a nautically themed bar called The Cove. Shout out to The Cove.
Oh, yeah,
I was
we
once
did.
employed there. Something fun about that, we are in a nautically themed bar in one of the places that's farther from an ocean than anywhere on the planet. There's very few places on the globe farther from an ocean than Botany, North Dakota.
Yep, but yet they have the Cove. There's not a cove within thousands of miles.
Yes. A long airline flight, a day's flight, a 2 to 3 day drive, and that's hard driving, man.
Real road dogging.
People are, as you grew up too, if you're somewhere near an ocean, you go out of your way just to go stand on the beach like, that's an ocean, all right, and get back in your car and go do what you're going to do.
I've never been to the ocean, but someday.
Oh, man. That is some Patreon material there, my friend. Your first glimpse of the ocean.
To the ocean.
Like in like a 1920s bathing suit. Like a tight, like plastic fabric tank top and short one piece. A swimming cap on.
Can't swim, not going to swim, but dressed for it.
That'd be a great way to learn in an undertow.
Where the sharks are.
Marlin, float on your back. Remember what I taught you? Team touch tickle.
You gotta swim parallel to the shore.
I don't think you remember that I don't know how to swim.
Oh, God.
And the person explaining it just keeps brushing over. Okay, we'll deal with that later. No, I think we should deal with it now.
Oh, we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out down the road. God, I hate those people. We'll figure it out, people. Ugh. So essentially what we've arrived at is we're going to have a Patreon where people donate money to see me die.
Yeah. It's our first and last snuff film.
Yeah, I was about to say, this is a Kickstarter snuff film is what this is. Film might be kind of lofty. It's going to be a short. It's not going to last long.
Kickstarter snuff film should be our death metal side project.
It's only a 6-minute video. He just kind of limps out into the ocean and then thrashes around and squeals a couple of times, and then it's just bubbles.
He doesn't look like the kind of guy that have a good swimming form, so right away you don't really know he's in danger. Then the bubbles stop.
Yeah, we threw this walking bingo ball out into the ocean, and it didn't go very well.
The whole time we have the Benny Hill music playing in the background.
And then just Finn at the end, and that's it.
But is it art, I ask you?
I don't know art, but I know what I like. I didn't like that.
Yeah. But at what cost?
So Homer goes down to the Frying Dutchman and gets the all-you-can-eat seafood, brings poor Marge along, who can't eat any of it because she's allergic to seafood. She's looking for non-seafood items on the menu, and the waiter's like, yeah, everything on the menu is seafood. She's like, how about the bread? Does that have a lot of seafood? And he just says, yes. And that's it. There's no explanation as to why the bread has a lot of seafood in it. But Homer, he gets into that all-you-can-eat buffet and just puts a fucking beat down on it. Just really goes whole hog on an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet. Can't say as I blame him. I would too. I've done some damage to all-you-can-eat buffets in the past. Do you think...
for a very husky gent, it's shocking how little I can eat in one sitting.
Yeah, you're dainty for a big fella.
Mm-hmm. I eat slow, too, yeah. But hey, give me like a 3-day weekend with like a 5-gallon drum of Minis Reese's Cups, then we'll I'll show you some... I'm more of the marathon eater than the sprint eater.
You're the tortoise, not the hare.
Yeah. Give me a Super Nintendo and all the Reese's I can eat, then we'll see.
Just unwrapping each one of them.
Yeah. For the first day, but by the end, I'm just tossing them in, spitting chocolate wrappers. Hurts my feelings.
Oh, the tinfoil. The idea of biting on tinfoil. Yeah, that's my nails on the chalkboard. The biting of tinfoil, I think, is horrifying. I'd rather watch someone get teeth pulled.
Yeah. It doesn't bug me. I'm shocked by that. I'm a very squeamish young boy. Very dainty as I eat everything with a knife and fork. Little Lord Nathan up on his high chair with my eating gloves on.
Oh God, they're long. They go up to the elbow. They're like ladies' ballroom gloves. Yeah.
I clap briskly and someone changes them for me. These are my dessert gloves.
These ones have been soiled. These ones have gravy on the fingers.
Jeeves. Yes, my lord.
I'm going to require new gloves before the bread pudding, Jeeves. Right away, Master Fulsaback. Oh fuck!
Oh man! Yeah.
So Homer, they throw Homer out. It takes a couple of tries because he's a persistent man. They drag Homer out and throw him out. He's going to sue them over that not being all you can eat. So he goes to our good friend Lionel Hutz, and he's going to take him to task. Take the sea captain to task. In the meantime, Laura meets up with Bart up in the treehouse, and Bart is thinking like, oh, this is going to be it. Like, this girl I like wants to see me. This is going to be great. And she shows up and tells Bart that she's very excited and just wanted to tell her friend that she has a boyfriend. And Bart is crushed. There's a like fantasy segment where he just kind of zones out and fantasizes her literally pulling his heart out of his body.
Yeah, it was well done.
And throws it across the room. He is doubly distressed to find out that said man is Jimbo Jones, the stocking cap wearing bully of the three. So he's really bummed. Bart is really in the toilet over this. Meanwhile, we go to the court case of Homer versus the ship captain, which there's some pretty solid jokes here and there. One of which Lionel Hutz breaking to the crowd that he's not actually a ship captain, to which everyone is very taken aback by. There's a gasp throughout the courthouse.
Yeah.
And then eventually it's looking like Homer is actually going to win this thing, and the sea captain makes a deal with him, like settles kind of off to the side. He's just like, I got an idea. And then smash cut to the Frying Dutchman, where Homer is just shoveling food into his face at the table that is positioned right in front of the window. And there's a huge line of people coming to watch this like it's a freak show attraction.
And the line that the sea captain, he's like a carnival barker. Come see Bottomless Pete, nature's cruelest mistake. I laughed so fucking hard. Yep. It's such a great line.
I have that written down here. Nature's cruelest mistake. Yeah. And he's just hammering shrimp down his gullet.
There's another time, too, and I think Mo has to leave the bar for some reason. And he's like, hey, Barney, don't steal all the beer. And then it cuts back later to Barney hanging over the bar with the tap right in his mouth, just drinking all the beer. And he goes, uh-oh, my heart just stopped.
And he's just still for 4 seconds.
He's dead. He's medically dead. And then, there it goes.
Yeah, he just twitches and there it goes. And goes right back to drinking out of the tap.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Mo ends up, that all happens. Mo leaves the bar because he gets a crank call from Bart. And Bart, I forget what his crank call joke is, but he does his crank call and then goes, my name is Jimbo Jones and I'm at, and gives him the Simpsons address.
There we go. Yeah.
And Mo, grabs his butcher's knife and excitedly says, ah, yes, rusty and dull, and goes running out of the bar to go murder this child.
A child murderer is what his goal is.
Who's plagued him for 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
And gets into the Simpsons home, and Jimbo just breaks down crying, just begging for mercy. So Bart has successfully exposed Jimbo as a paper tiger, as a wuss, as a phony pretender.
And I like how for Laura, her she is turned off by the fact that a 13-year-old child cried when a deranged grown fucking man with a rusty knife burst into their house with his intent to fucking kill him. Jesus Christ, Laura. Set the bar a little higher, why don't you? My God.
That hadn't occurred to me, but yes, that is very funny that was her breaking point. Oh no, I need an adolescent who can stand up to a grown murderous man.
Yeah. And some of the cocksure attitude that can stare death in the eye when they're barely a teenager.
Yeah. As he's doubled over crying and begging for mercy, Mo kind of lowers the knife and is just he says, geez, kid, I wasn't going to kill you, just cut you a bit. That makes this okay.
Yeah. There's another earlier scene too where Bart goes to talk to his grandpa about women. And, of course, his grandpa just goes off the rails completely. Starts talking about falling in love with a woman in the circus. And there's a point where he laments, I wore a 15-pound beard of bees for that woman, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah, she got caught up with that Guinness crowd.
Yeah. Just so great.
Yeah.
I have another note here. I don't know what it's from, but who gives somebody a bus schedule for a Christmas present in this episode? Christ, that made me laugh. I just can't remember who it was.
That was Bart when he goes to visit Abe, and like Abe is so excited to see him. He's like, "You remembered my birthday," and Bart's like,
"That's what it is."
Yeah, sure. Here, I got you a bus
schedule.
And Abe excitedly is like, "Awesome! It fits right in my pocket."
Yeah. There's another great Bart gag where he's involved. It's like him, I don't know if he's trying to act mature, well, because he's so smitten with Laura, but from inside the house, Marge yells, "Bart, it's past your bedtime. I laid out your jammy-jams."
Yeah, that's
like,
because Laura kind of mentions like, he's just a kid, referring to Bart, and just as he's like, "Yeah, I'll show you who's just a kid, Bart. I've laid out your jammy-jams."
And I don't know, I, again, do not have children, but I was wondering, isn't 10 years old getting a little old to be wearing pajamas? Maybe not. Maybe I just grew up weird.
I mean, we have covered extensively that you grew up weird, for sure.
Yeah, that's very true. I remember I was well, I also was 5.5 feet tall when I was 6 years old. So it's I had to wear grown man pajamas.
Just button down flannel with a collar.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Just splitting the back of my Knight Rider pajamas because of a pituitary issue. Mom, my jammy-jams don't fit. We're going to have you start sleeping in the garage, hon. Whatever.
I'm going to need help with my potato clock for the science fair.
Are your knuckles here? What's happening here?
Today for show and tell, I brought my mustache.
I'm gonna get a little salt and pepper around my temples.
Oh man.
Fun times. I remember, I was from ages 6 on, I was just sleeping in my tidy whities like a 40-year-old bachelor. Roll out of bed, what a fucking day. Ma, get some coffee on.
I'm out of smokes.
Jesus Christ, take me now, Lord.
I love the idea of grown man, child Nathan. Oh, fuck. It's like that movie Jack, except real sad.
Yeah. I remember having some baller-ass Knight Rider pajamas that I loved. Yeah, I think I sneezed and tripled in size, and I just split all my seams.
Just burst through them all like the Hulk.
And because I need some grown man Knight Rider jammies.
What do you mean they don't make those?
You will wear burlap sacks until you stop growing. Bankrupt the family, you genetic freak.
Oh, God. I'm going to get lightheaded. Oh, shit.
I legit had a grown man's head from the ages 3 on.
You gotta stop.
They had to go to the high school to get a baseball helmet for me. It was a different shade of purple from everyone else's. They had to order a football helmet for my brother. Legit ordered one, and I asked the new coach. He's like, "Yeah, there's this giant helmet covered in dust. We always wonder what the story is." I'm like, "It's I'll tell you the fucking story."
That's a Folsabach heirloom, is what that is. Don't throw it out.
Yeah.
Oh God. Grown man's head on 3-year-old Nathan.
Yeah.
Oh God. So Bart and Laura just are friends after all this. They just decide she's kind of thankful that Bart exposed that Jimbo's a fake tough guy.
Yeah, which I'll debate, but yeah, for the sake of getting this through this
For
episode.
the sake of the episode, you'll admit that a tween getting scared of a man with a knife is an expose of sorts.
Yeah.
And that wraps it up. They got a new neighbor. I wonder if we'll see much more of them. I'm sure we will see some of them, but
That'll be interesting to see. Yeah, but it's funny that I never even thought twice about the other side of the house. Yeah,
neither had I. There. Yeah, until this episode, I was like, oh yeah, there's a house on the other side too.
Yeah. I wonder if we'll ever explore what's past the backyard.
Oh, I don't know. Wow. We're 30 seasons in. We have to have explored every inch of this town, right?
We have 26 and a half seasons to go.
Yeah.
And counting. Yeah. And counting,
Still
mind you.
Still going. But I really like, we didn't get to see a whole ton of her, but I really like Ruth, Laura's mom. I hope that we get some more of her in the future.
Mm-hmm.
This episode, by the way, the first of many to be written by Conan O'Brien.
Yeah, interesting. I did not know that.
He wrote 2 of them in this batch. He started writing for the show on season 4.
Look at this, dropping all sorts of helpful information here.
You're here to learn, everyone.
I agree. Well, about The Simpsons and about yourself. And the human condition.
And about us, like Nathan's gigantism problems.
Yes, exactly. Some of which I brought upon myself. And some of which was just, a shitty deck of genetic cards. We're up to episode 9 now, Mr. Plow, which I think, as we discussed earlier, is a pretty beloved episode in The Simpsons canon. Yeah, a classic. It is a good one. Starts off with Homer at the bar watching trash TV while the kids are also at home watching trash TV. There's a few goofs, a few gags, because that's a lot of the Simpsons episodes recently start with them watching like dumb things on TV, and they can play off it for quick gags. Yeah.
Or like full on like non sequiturs. Like there's one later.
Yeah.
They kind of start with their own isolated bits before moving on.
Yeah. And then so they are there, and it starts storming out, and finally, like I think maybe Marge calls the bar, and Homer figures he better head home, and now it's brutal out. Can't keep his windshield clear, and not only does he manage to total his car, he managed to total Marge's car because he pulled him his own parking lot, coming in real hot.
Coming in hot to his own driveway.
And he thinks he like made it, and he steps out. There's his family on the front porch with their jaws agape, like at the fucking carnage that this man has brought upon their home.
It was at this moment that my dumbass was like, wait, they have 2 cars? Have we ever addressed that they have 2 cars? And then in the next episode, I'm like, there's 2 cars in the intro song. They show you that they have 2 cars. I've seen that they have 2 cars for whatever 14 times 5 episodes are.
Marge usually drives the wagon, Homer drives the sedan, I've noticed. So the cars he tries to get the insurance to pay for it, and they ask him if he was this mole is that a bar? Because he drove home very drunk, one would assume. And, there's a great, like, where Homer's like, you got to think. And he just calmly looks at the man. It's a pornography store. I was buying pornography. And he's like proud of himself. He thinks that's a great alibi.
Good one, Homer.
Oh, man. Shout out to pornography stores before we get past that. They are a dying thing, man. Holy moly. That's hard to even wrap your brain around. You just have to go buy pornography.
Yeah, go buy it from some shady characters. Never been
anymore.
A clean, well-lit, fully staffed pornography store.
Nope. There's always dark corners with people lurking.
Just like, when's the last time these walls were washed? Ugh.
Yeah. This isn't even a joke, for like pretty much my entire high school time, the Minot newspaper, Minot, North Dakota, had a classified ad and a help wanted for the janitor of the local pornography shop. That ad ran for 3.5 years.
Yeah, who's going to take that job?
They couldn't find someone to mop the semen-ridden basement. Because that place did have quarter booths, my friend. So someone's got to take care of that.
At some
business.
point, you're not hiring a janitor. You're just buying a sump pump and hoping for the best.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, just power wash everything at the end of the year before your inspection.
No, that's why you got to build it. No carpet, all tile, drain in the middle. Yeah. You just hose it down like it's a dairy barn.
After a busy weekend, you pull your mop out of the bucket. Looks like you're using honey instead of mop water. Oh, boy. Just gonna maybe throw this mop away.
You'll burn this mop. In my head, you pull it up out of the bucket, and all of it has just congealed to the mop, so it looks like a giant lollipop.
Yeah. A weird misshapen light bulb.
Well, this is done. We need.
Are we blowing glass when one could call it that? I thought his name was Arnold.
Good new euphemism, janitor.
We like you. Come down here.
So glad
often.
You answered that classified. Yeah, porno shop janitor has to be like, where's their show? The crab fishermen got a show, and the ice road truckers got a show.
A few more harrowing jobs than the guy cleaning the jerk-off boots. So Homer is now looking for a car. So he checks a few different options. He goes to this amazing used car lot. He has to get there by riding the back of that watermelon truck. Sorry, I can't remember the name of the pig.
Me neither.
He has to sit up front. Can't trust a hog with watermelon.
And then smash cut to Homer in the back eating watermelons.
Just gorging himself on watermelons, So he goes to this amazing car dealership where he looks at a car, the guy's like, he's always jammed inside it. He's like, she'll go 300 hectares on a single tank of kerosene. And immediately got me thinking, we need more Eastern European car manufacturers. We're 30-odd years since they were putting Yugos out in America.
It's been, I had forgotten that name altogether. I like that Homer asks, what country was this built in? And the guy says, it doesn't exist anymore. The Eastern Bloc cars.
Soviet satellites, he ends up going to a auto show where he sees a big old pickup truck with a snowplow in front of it.
Which he is pretty into. There's so many good jokes during this car show. Holy shit.
And he has that that flashback, not a flashback, but just like an imagining scene of where there's people protesting around the White House. And if you pause and look at some of those signs, they are solid gold. There's one that says "Bring Back Sea Hunt," and I had to look that up. It was like from the late 50s. It was an underwater adventure show. It was on for like 2 years.
What a specific joke.
33 years ago, someone is petitioning or out in front of the White House picketing for it to bring back Sea Hunt. And I'll tell you what, someone driving through protesters doesn't really bring the laughs like it did back in 93.
Yep. My note right here says, boy, driving through protesters joke hits different this year.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that enough times, especially from policemen. Anyway, that was rough. But I love that that's his fantasy when he's like trying to think of like, well, what would you ever use this for? And the fantasy is George Bush needing him to get the art out of the White House through the protesters.
And he actually does eventually start using it as for a snow removal business, and which is named Mr. Plow.
We cannot move on from the auto show yet because my God, Fourth Reich Motors. The German auto manufacturer showing off their crash testing. And so it's just
one crawls off
just
the back.
slow-mo footage of a car crash full of dummies slamming into a wall, and then one crawls out of the back and starts crawling away. And Lisa's like, wait a minute, that's not a dummy, and he shuts it down, just like, well, booth is closed.
That was
and we get
awesome.
it's funny because this is probably 8 years before Family Guy, like Adam West showing up and voicing himself as Adam West at the Batmobile booth. And I love that they start normal and then change it. They twist the camera angle the way it was in 66, where it's like they explained that the reason they shot everything that way was when there's villains on screen because they're crooked, so they shot it crooked.
Oh,
yeah, like
fascinating.
that joke there is Adam West is talking, rambling incoherently because Adam West is out of his mind, and then they like tilt the camera like 45 degrees to mimic how that show was shot. I love that he's just unhinged, that Adam West is out of his mind.
There was like a 4-minute run kind of during this time and during the whole card shopping where I was like consistently laughing the whole time. I was like, oof, this is some good stuff.
That whole car show scene was great.
Or two, man, when it's kind of like when Homer's business is starting to take off and he sees Barney on the street in that baby costume. Tell him Big Baby sent you. This is terrifying thing. This large drunk man in a diaper.
Bonnet. For me, it's the bonnet that really sells it.
Is he holding a rattle?
Yeah, like he's out handing out flyers for some business dressed as a baby.
That nobody wants. Tell him Big Baby sent you.
And then the wind blows his diaper away and he goes running after it. Come back, diaper. And gets to the corner and turns it and just says, hey, Ma. And then that's it. Like it just cuts to the next thing. Yeah. Oh, God. Barney is so good.
Yeah. And then when they go back and Barney's in the bar, still in the big baby outfit
the diaper and the bonnet.
See, you can change, man. It's like he's like a method actor.
No, you can change after work. You don't have to do this big baby thing, though. And stop with big baby. There's something about big baby I don't like.
Yeah. And Barney is kind of down on himself for, being a 30-something-year-old man that has to dress like a baby for little to no money to make ends meet. And Homer kind of cheers him up, say, hey, you're going to find your thing someday, man, and you're going to take off. Just make sure you throw yourself into it 100%. And Barney's kind of, a little, makes him feel a little bit better. And to Homer's chagrin, it turns out Barney's plan is to make a competing snow removal company named is it
the Plow King?
Plow King. There you go, the Plow. So we have Mr. Plow and the Plow King. He has a bigger truck, a bigger plow, and he's a ruthless businessman by shooting out the back tires of Homer's
pulls
rig.
up and they have their back and forth about like, Barney, your plan is to ruin you're taking my idea. And there's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition, Homer, and pulls out a revolver and blows out Homer's tires.
Yeah, so great. And kind of an ongoing gag is Homer's like attempts to use advertising. Like he gets a one ad, and that does great. It builds interest, but like he can't afford any money. But it's like it airs at 3:17 a.m. And one of the kids is like, "Who watches TV at 3:17 a.m.?" And Homer's, "Lots of people." Alcoholics, the unemployable, angry loners. I tell you, man, that hit close to home because for most of my 20s, I was like two and a half of those
Just a rotating cast of always two. You were always two, and it just depended on which two.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, man, I watched a lot of late night TV, so Homer's onto something.
That's the time to advertise to those people.
And like a Hail Mary attempt to get more business back, they shoot a very almost like European like
this avant-garde plow commercial.
It is a very esoteric, to put it mildly,
because it's such bullshit. Just like a lady opera singing to a snow globe and breaks it open and it says Mr. Plow. Like, it's so good.
Yeah.
I love when people poke fun at that auteur shit.
Yeah. And Homer eventually loses all of his business and then so to get back at Barney, he calls in a fake snow situation on top of, I believe, is it Widow's Peak? And And then Barney, ever the courageous businessman, goes up there to try free whoever is stuck up there, and he ends up getting very stuck in an avalanche himself. Then becomes one of those. There's a lot of these episodes that are a moral dilemma like this. One of the main characters does something shitty, and then it backfires, and it's like, are they good enough people to kind of do the
Homer
right
in particular, like undoing something he did earlier in the episode is a theme.
Yeah. And then Homer does go up there to get him free, and I'm trying to think what the hell even happens after that point. I'm pretty sure it's just he gets Barney out of there, and then doesn't the sun come out and all the snow melts and all their work evaporates?
Yep, exactly.
Pretty much?
He gets up there and gets Barney out, and they're like, yeah, together, not even God can stop us. And you hear the voice of God say, oh, really? And then the sun comes out and all the snow goes away.
Yeah, and they get their trucks repoed.
Yeah, the trucks get repoed.
And the end of the episode, something I love is they're in bed getting ready to go to sleep, and Marge is like, "Oh, Homer, I think for one last time you could put it back on." She means the Mr. Plow
she's
coat.
into the Mr. Plow coat.
I love that Marge and Homer have a healthy sex life because it's such a tired gag in most other sitcoms that they don't. They're like, "Oh, my wife's loves the shrew," or "My husband's a dipshit dead lay," or something like that, you know. But not the Simpsons,
Homer and Marge. They're like
slamming them yellow hams.
I love that the coat it does it for Marge because it's not like a sexy coat even. I don't even know what a sexy coat would be now that I say it.
Well, I'll show you some pictures, buddy. I'll show you.
We'll go down to the dirty porno shop. I'll show you what section the videos are in.
That the sexy coats are in. It's a very specific genre.
There's a moment earlier in this episode when Homer like calls Barney and tells him to go to Widow's Peak. Barney has made so much money with this Plow King shit that he's like in a hot tub in this fancy room with Linda Ronstadt, just like having a drink, and Homer's like, there's a $10,000 bill in it for you, and Barney, skeptical, is like, yeah, which president's on it? And Homer's response is, all of them. They're at a party. Jimmy Carter's passed out on the sofa. And that's what gets Barney. Oh, yeah, sure.
That sounds legit.
I can see Jimmy Carter partying that hard.
Yeah, he's still a fairly young man, probably only in his 50s.
Peanut magnate Jimmy Carter throwing a few back.
Linda Ronstadt was a weird choice for this. I kind of forgot she was even in it. Like, what a weird career arc she had. Just a monster in the 70s, kind of maybe, and then just like, you know what? I'm over it. I'm kind of just going to get out of the public eye. I'm not going to tour. Just going to chill out. I think maybe she had like vocal issues, like that she couldn't really get over, like something, I don't know what happens in your throat, but like, yeah. And she's like, I would rather just bow out than have to continually fight this.
And then fucking shows up in a Simpsons episode 20 years later. Why not?
Exactly. Surprise, motherfuckers. I'll see you.
I like to think that's how she entered the recording booth.
She like strong arm Matt Groening, like got him in a hammerlock. Okay, Linda Ronstadt.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Ronstadt. I'm so very sorry. Okay. I'll tell you what my lines are.
Yeah. You just animate around it.
I see why that episode's a classic. It is chocked full of jokes. Every second is nothing but jokes. As is episode 10. Well, not really. I tried to do a segue, but that was a lie. Episode 10 is Lisa's First Word. Not a bad episode by any means, but I think you are in the same boat. The flashback episodes, not my favorites.
No, they're not bad, like you were saying, but just something about them, man. It just feels like a forced narrative. It's like just like never enough laughs. Like I'm always just like, I get it. You got to build a backstory somehow, but it's like, oh, yeah.
I think I always like what you learn from them, but it's never chock full of jokes.
Yeah, I will say, I think the sea captain makes an appearance in this episode. He's gotten a lot of run recently. There's a lot of sea cap, which I'm all for, but I like
He's great. Yeah.
Yeah,
Put him in more.
Yeah, I like that he's getting shoehorned in. Good for him. He's put the work in. He's getting called up to the majors. He's making the most of it.
I like the idea that they have a farm league of Simpsons characters that they call up every so often.
Yeah, that's what Futurama was originally designed for.
Yeah, like, oh, we got this robot character who smokes cigars.
Yeah, not anymore. He got called up.
I don't know how we can fit him into the Simpsons, but
we'll see. We'll make it work.
Yeah. This is Lisa's First Word, episode 10 of season 4. They're sitting around on the couch, the whole family is, trying to get Maggie to say her first words. Marge is a little worried as she reads from Fretful Mother magazine, which says that, like, if she doesn't say her first words by the time she's 1, that's not good for whatever reason. And then we take over with the flashback from there of them telling the story of Lisa's first words. I like that they cut back to the 80s. It's like 1980, I think, 3. And they're like, oh, we used to have this apartment down on the Lower East Side of Springfield. And it looks like the 1910s.
Yeah, it's like Little Italy.
Yes, exactly. It looks like the flashback stuff in Godfather 2.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Gangs of New York or Peaky Blinders. There's been a lot of fiction in that era.
Remember, this is a city big enough to have giant ethnic communities. And yet, volunteer fire department.
Volunteer fire department, yes. There's like the clotheslines run over the street stretched between the two buildings. Very strange. I thought it was funny, and it culturally references to the music because they're like singing Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Yeah. But just very strange. I thought it was a good joke. Like,
one of the reasons I might not, and like this one in particular, at least for this first part of it, it's a lot of, Bart is sure a wacky baby. It's like, yeah, man, I get it. He's a real handful as a child. It's like
there is a ton of that in this episode of like, you thought Bart was bad when he's 10. Well, he's a real piece of shit when he's 2. He's somehow worse. Yeah.
I mean, it's cute hearing him talk like a baby, but that goes away. And, after the first couple lines.
So Marge finds out that she's pregnant and they need to get a new house. So they go out house hunting, and there's some good gags of like, this house is perfect, but what is that smell? And it's right next to like a rendering plant where they're just boiling pig fat 24/7.
It's shocking that I would say if someone explained the process of rendering to me, I would go 50-50. It's either going to smell terrible or smell amazing.
Part of you is going to be like, does it smell kind of like barbecue?
Yeah, bacon cooking, maybe.
I mean, in my brain, I just combine pork and heat, and that smells delicious.
That's always a good time, yeah.
Yeah, that's better than just pork or just heat. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that doesn't work. They eventually, Homer goes to his dad, and asks him for money to buy a house. Asks him for $15,000, which it's not explained if that's a down payment or if that's what the house costs. Yeah. 1983, I don't know that huge house was that cheap. So I'm going to assume that was a down payment. So Abe explains, well, the only thing I have is this house, which it turns out, won on a game show in the 50s, won this house. Yeah. But Abe agrees to sell the house, and he'll live with Homer and the family in their new house that he is giving Homer the money for, which is a weirdly sweet moment between Grandpa and Homer, because they seem fairly like... Seems like they're always butting heads, but it wasn't always that way, apparently. And then they cut back to
So great. Yep.
modern times, and Bart is like, so how long before you shipped him off to the old folks' home? And Homer says, about 3 weeks, and the whole family laughs.
Yep.
I'm like, what the fuck? That's the most fucked up thing I've ever heard. Like, he sold his home to help you, and then you just shipped him out in 3 weeks?
But Marlin, he's old.
But
That's where the
Marlin,
goof
it's a
is.
cartoon.
Hey, we need our righteous indignation at this show every once in a while.
I was like, what the fuck? That's fucked up.
Yeah, even Marge laughed and laughed. Like, usually, she's the fucking virtuous one in the family, but nope, she sure got a kick out of them swindling an old man out of his home.
Sure got a kick out of fleecing that old timer and shipping him off with the rest of the old people just waiting out the clock. Jesus. Marge is telling the story and explains that, so at this point, Bart is in the terrible twos, and it cuts to Bart with a pot on his head and holding a pot in one hand and banging on it with an iron ladle, marching down the hall, screaming, I am so great. I am so great, which is fantastic. I would kill to have that confidence.
It's funny, too. I never have seen this episode, but just through the power of memes and GIFs. I don't say GIFs, I say GIFs. I've seen that before, like little Bart with the pots and pans. I've seen that in a bunch of different online forums.
I've seen a ton of Simpsons memes, but never that one. Yeah. I'm waiting for Homer backing into a bush. That is the Simpsons meme.
Shit, yeah.
That's the one I'm waiting on, and then I can point and be like, "That's the meme. I know
that one."
Yeah, it's like when a band you only sort of like plays the song at their show that you came there to see.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that one. That's the one from the radio.
Yeah.
Homer, I always love when we do a gag about Homer being a shitty handyman.
Yep.
So Homer builds a bed for Bart because the new baby, Lisa, is going to take the crib where Bart has been sleeping. And we cut to the garage, and Homer is taking a handsaw to just a raw log. Yeah. Like, not a piece of purchased lumber, just a round, raw, like cutting the stump off a log.
Yeah.
And then it cuts to him hammering nails just into the bark. Not like, you're not nailing it to anything. You're not building anything.
Yeah.
And he never, like, it's always, the nail is always clearly halfway in and then bent over at a 90-degree angle. And it's just haphazard. There's all these nails in this log. I love when we do Homer handyman jokes.
Yeah, that's a good point. Just nailing for no reason.
Yeah, just driving nails into this thing, bending them all, not driving any of them properly. But he's very proud of his creation, which is a clown bed, because Bart likes Krusty, so he makes him a bed that's a clown, but it's horrifying.
Yeah. This is one of those, actually, he's being a good dad move, and it just backfires.
Yeah, like, does a good thing and couldn't be any worse than it turns out.
Yeah.
Yeah, big scary clown face. The sides of the bed that then meet the foot of the bed are like clawed clown hands that embrace the boy.
Long arms going along the edge of the bed.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's at this point that we meet the Flanders for the first time. Whichever boy is older, Rod or Todd, I don't remember. I think it's Todd. And Ned come over to greet their new neighbors, and they give them fucking Homer. Yeah. Ned says, if you ever need anything, let me know. And he's holding a new TV tray, like a folding small table. And Homer's like, well, what about that TV tray? I mean, you said anything. I could use one of those. Yeah. And Ned gives it to him. Like, what the fuck is wrong with Homer to just be like, yeah, that thing you have, I want that.
Yeah, not a good dude.
Homer's garbage.
Yeah.
And Ned even says, like, yeah, you can borrow it. And then it cuts back to present day of Homer putting his beer down on it. Like, oh, yeah, that was 8 years ago. Ha ha. Just like, you just revel in being garbage.
Yeah, exactly. Just proud of being a terrible man.
Yeah. And so now it's delivery day. Marge and Homer go off to the hospital to have the baby, and baby Bart is staying with the Flanderses next door, and they're playing a board game called Good Samaritan, which looks like Life, but also has like the Pop-O-Matic dice shaker.
Yeah.
And then Ned excitedly exclaims from the kitchen, "All right, kids, it's dinner. It's liver time." I don't think that's what he said, but exclaims that dinner's ready and they're having liver. And the little boys are so excited. And one of them exclaims, "Iron helps us play." So fucking good.
It's very, very sound knowledge of what minerals do for you for a preschool child.
Yeah, why do you know so much about? And why are you, man? I'm pretty adventurous when it comes to food. Fucking liver is the worst thing you can put in your body.
I don't dislike it. I don't go for it, but I can handle it. No.
It's that perfect combination of I don't like the taste or the texture. Usually I can find one of the two appealing, but not fucking liver.
It's definitely one of those foods. If someone says they don't like it, I'm like, oh yeah, I get it. Totally get it.
Exactly. I could see how this isn't for everyone. Sure.
Yep. It is an internal organ. It ain't muscle you're eating. That's.
Yeah. There's not a lot of organ meats that are for everyone.
I got to give you credit for dropping the term Pop-O-Matic. I forgot that was the name of the little that semi-globe for dice. Like
I think that's from Trouble, Pop-O-Matic Trouble.
I was just I remember getting that for my birthday, and it was like it had the word trouble in big letters, and then like Pop-O-Matic was like stamped on like after the mess. So it's like, was this like a model change? Like I got the 88 Pop-O-Matic Trouble, like the 87 was just Trouble.
Yeah, and then they were like, we got to brand this dome.
Exactly. What was it like? No, in my head, it's like if you get the non-Pop-O-Matic, you're just shaking dice like a goddamn plebe. You're just like
some commoner.
Just shaking dice, and meanwhile, I'm fucking double hand jamming my Pop-O-Matic. Yeah, you like that? Rolling snake eyes all day, motherfucker. I will get all my colored circle things into the proper line. I like the idea that it's an add-on that your parents had to discuss. It's like, ooh, are we ready? Do you think was he a good enough kid this year to get him Pop-O-Matic Trouble for Christmas? Like, let's save the $3 on.
Yeah, do we really want to spend the extra $2.99, or can the boy roll dice like we had to?
Yeah, he's getting real big for his britches. We don't need him thinking he owns the world. He can roll the dice like the rest of us.
I don't know. Don't you think he's getting enough dice rolling with all the Yahtzee we're playing? We don't want to.
But yeah, we for a hot minute, the Full Smokes were a Yahtzee family.
We were a Yahtzee family and nothing else. We didn't play board games. I think part of that being there was only 3 of us, being an only child. Not a lot of board games. Yeah. Most board games, to really make fun, you need more than 3 people.
Especially when it's 2 adults and 1 6-year-old. This dumb motherfucker can barely read.
Yeah, like which route do you take? Do you play Candyland because that's what the kid understands, but the adults are bored out of their minds, or do you play Risk and just pummel the shit out of this 5-year-old?
You're gonna have to read the community chest for a month. Fucking shit for brains can barely read. They throw the money at you, you dumb bitch.
Here you go. Fucking pick that up.
Fucking knucklehead. Hate this game.
You're making real devious real estate trades. Yeah. Oh yeah, give me Park Place for this fucking brown one here. Take it.
Yeah, it's
garbage at this game.
You like blue, right? Yeah, here you go. Here's light blue. Fucking continental shithead.
Yeah, you don't want those railroad cards. Look, there's not even any fun colors on them. Railroads are dumb. Yeah, give them here. I'll take them.
For Baltic.
Quit eating the goddamn hotels.
Get that out of your mouth. Just got wet, beat up chance cards from a kid chewing on them.
All the houses, all the corners are rounded off. All the houses and hotels.
As single men that are childless, what a weird life. Like, I've never once had things in my household as an adult that are chewed on. Like, you've got kids, man. That's life.
Yeah. Everything in life has been in your kid's mouth if you have a child.
If I sat down in my living room and there's a huge bite mark in my coffee table, but there's a fucking phantom in this house. That is real trouble. That's fucking paranormal activity shit. I'm laying flour on the floor. I need to see some demon prints. Get my fucking lease money back.
See, I would convince myself it was my cat until the specter eventually took me. And I'd be like, it wasn't the cat at all.
Then your cat's standing at the foot of your bed watching you sleep for 8 hours, absolutely motionless. I kind of want to watch Paranormal Activity again. It's been a minute.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those in a long time, but especially the first one.
First few hold up.
Yeah, very much so. The only other board game that we ever played and played very rarely was chess. Like I could play chess with mom every so often, or with an uncle, or sometimes checkers, which checkers isn't a board game. Fuck that. And Yahtzee, I don't think I was ever good at because I didn't understand what I was supposed to be doing well enough as a kid. But we were card games and dice games,
Yeah,
just regular playing cards, not like Yu-Gi-Oh or something.
I wish I had a snapshot of the full board game collection, because I remember almost all the dumb shit from my childhood. That's one thing. There was a handful of rando games. I don't recall what they were, but we had a lot of the greatest hits. We had a Monopoly. We too had a checkers board. I think I had an old chess board I bought at a rummage sale. I mean, I guess they're the same fucking board. It's just the pieces are different.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, what else did we have? We had a Balderdash. We might still have Balderdash somewhere.
I didn't play it. I played Clue for the first time when I was 33 years old.
Dude, me too. Exactly. Yeah. I never had any concept of what Clue was.
And a fucking 10-year-old handed me my ass in Clue. I was just like, okay, I don't know what happened. I'm just baffled. Same with Sorry. I didn't play Sorry till I was that old.
Oh, I remember Sorry. I don't know if we owned it, but one of my cousins or something did.
I, in my early 30s, started hanging out with someone who has kids, and I'm like, oh, what are these board games that I've never heard of?
Or did you have any friends? Usually they were a couple that were really into board games. I had a couple friends that they were in a relationship. They were both just fucking hog wild over board games, which, hey, whatever floats your boat, man. We're all, rapidly deteriorating. Whatever gives you a little joy. But I never once purchased a board game as an adult.
I went through a spell hanging out with a certain crowd, not in a bad way, just a certain type of people.
And I still can't shit right. Moving on.
But we would play the advanced board game, the kind of board game you have to buy at a comic book store, not the kind that you buy in the toy aisle.
Yeah.
So I've played fucking art, the Cthulhu one, the Arkham Asylum one, and some Game of Thrones ones, the ones that take too long to set up and explain and play. Everything takes too long.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed a handful of those.
All that shit's fun. I just never, doesn't cross my mind. I could play a board game, or I could just lay down.
We always had fun, but it was try even before fucking COVID, because this is a few years ago, try getting the 8 people it takes to play this game all together at one time, where no one has anything else going on.
Actually, we could do this. We could explain the rules. We could or what we could do? We could buy a fucking Dirty 30 of High Life and watch dirt bike accident videos on YouTube and just laugh our dumb fucking asses off.
Exactly. Sure, this game is going to be fun, and it always was. I always enjoyed
mentally
those
stimulating.
Games,
I'll just let my brain atrophy and watch fucking blooper videos on YouTube.
Sports bloopers, yeah.
Over and over. That dumb son of a bitch ain't gonna make that on that skateboard. Yay!
Look
right
at
in the snake pit.
That guy hurt his balls. Oh man, the balls ones are the best.
Why don't we just search for balls ones? All killer, no filler.
I just imagine your brain going flat the way soda does.
It just starts shrinking, like if air's coming out of it.
Yeah, just left it open too long, and now there's no bubbles left.
Yeah.
But so Lisa is born and they bring her home. We get to see briefly Dr. Hibbert and his 1983 look, because you remember when we saw him in the 70s, he had a big afro. In 84, Hibbert has the beaded dreads Rasta look, which is very good.
Kind of the Rick James look, yeah.
Yeah, pretty into that. That works for him. Bart hates Lisa. Like, big time, is jealous of the baby, all that big brother, that big sibling shit you always hear.
Yeah.
And then, like, he starts trying to, like, get even with her somehow.
Yeah.
He cuts her hair like a fucking psychopath. They show him crawling into the crib with a scissors, and I was like, well, that's a horrifying image.
Yep. You don't want that. Or here's a quick fucking memo. Put the scissors on a higher shelf, you maniacs.
Right? He's 2. Put it in a drawer or something. Yeah. He covers her in stamps and puts her in the mailbox, which all that made me think of was Garfield trying to mail Nermal to Abu Dhabi.
He hated that cat.
Yeah, she's so cute. He just can't stand it. Yeah. I always laugh. I don't know what it is about today's day and age. I think it's because people just didn't grow up with that show, apparently. But the amount of times I hear people mispronounce Abu Dhabi, it's like, did you fuckers not watch Garfield? Like, good God-fearing people.
Oh, shit.
How do you not look at that word, Abu Dhabi? It's like, no, fuck you. What are you doing?
Abu
Garfield
Dhabi,
taught you this.
Yeah. What, do you like Mondays? I'm sorry, Marlin. I'll pass on the lasagna. Hey, think again. I'm going to give you one more try to get this fucking right. We're going to fucking throw hands.
Oh, fuck. I watched Garfield and Ninja Turtles were the 2 can't miss every Saturday morning cartoons.
See, I'm slightly older than you, so I would Muppet Babies was my jam.
Okay.
Throw on a little Pee-wee's Playhouse and then top that off with some Garfield and Friends. Then you switched over to the ABC affiliate and got an hour of classic Bugs Bunny cartoons, and that was...
Oh, nice. So you were living large with ABC.
Yeah.
Once CBS stopped showing cartoons, I was done.
Just the TV was shut off and just the dust rolled in.
Yep, I just stared at my reflection in the blank screen
then
for the rest
Tusken
of the day.
Raiders came and took anything of value.
Well, Ninja Turtles is over. I'll go outside and play with my rock.
You know, they had to feed your pet rock to the horse. They get some nutrients in them.
Come on, buddy.
Rocks are good.
You're going to starve if you don't eat your rock.
Dumb horse doesn't like rocks.
Can't be big and strong if you don't eat your rock.
The only thing on the walls is a framed picture of one blade of grass growing. There's like a date underneath it. 1917. It's the last time anything grew here.
Yep. It's a painting. They commissioned a painting.
Do you remember growing up that painting of like an old bearded man praying at a table with like a loaf of bread?
Everyone's grandma had that painting.
And in your region, it was just assumed he was praying for a swift death. I'm tired of inhaling dust all day.
I'm tired of trying every day to get this horse to eat this rock. Please take me, Lord.
This bread is ornamental bread. I stole it from the one time I went to a Bonanza in Bismarck.
It's petrified. It's fossil at this point.
Yeah. We waited too long.
I like to think that he's praying over that bread, praying real hard for the Lord to take away his gluten intolerance.
Yeah.
Please, I'm starving, but all I have is this.
Yeah.
Yep, there were things that every grandma's house had. There's the man praying painting. There's the praying hands, just the folded hands on the wall. And for whatever reason, giant fork and spoon hanging on the wall.
Yeah, big wooden fork and spoon hanging on the wall. Yeah, I remember that in a lot of households.
No reason.
Yep. Just there. Just hanging
you
out.
Need to mix a giant salad? I don't understand what this is for.
My grandma had a 4 foot tall by 9 foot wide giant frame picture of a locomotive flying through the snow. It had a clock built in. To this day, I'm glad I kicked myself for not grabbing that, because where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, what is this? What is the significance of this? Why do you have this?
I know exactly what it was. It was a farm auction. My grandpa was like, "Hey, $1, I'll take it."
Oh, that's probably where all that stuff came from, is farm auctions.
They got a pickup box trailer full of harmonicas. How did that happen? That price was right.
Man, part of me kind of wants to make it a life goal now to just go to auctions and buy as many old man praying paintings as I can find.
Just
and eventually, when this podcast takes off and we have fuck you Elon Musk money, just have an old praying man room in my home.
I was just picturing like barely running school buses you bought on the cheap at city auctions full of those paintings. You just traveled the country.
What do you do in your retirement? Well, I have 1,100 paintings of this old man that I drive around in my bus.
They can just make more, right? It's not like you're going to get them all. This isn't like a baseball card.
I'm sure there's someone printing them off for the fucking religious stores around here now.
Yeah, there's at the Gideon's Trumpet. Is that what that's all those stores are called?
God, I hope so, because that's a wonderful store name. Gideon's Trumpet.
Third quarter numbers show Jesus Fisher down. Praying old man is hot.
Will Precious Moments figurines ever bounce back?
Oh.
Did Gideon even have a trumpet? Gabriel had the trumpet.
Someone brings it up at every quarterly meeting and they're fired and admonished on the spot.
Boy, that was a firm reminder just now that I'm not that far from my seemingly abandoned Catholicism. Being like, no, you need to get your angels right. Gabriel had the trumpet. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's still in there.
There you go.
Could have sloughed that off and learned how real estate works or something.
Or how to long divide.
Yeah. How do I do my taxes? I don't know, but I know Gabriel had a trumpet.
Yeah.
What?
Maybe I could have taught myself how to say no to cake at any kind of work function.
You don't have to celebrate everyone's birthday.
Fucking eat 7 pieces of cake a week. This isn't good for any of us. Who's making all these goddamn cakes?
Is it someone's job? Is it someone's job just to make these cakes?
How much fucking money does Denise make to afford all these cakes?
Does that just come with the HR title? Is that one of your job requirements?
You write these off? You're saving the paperwork?
Oh, fuck. At one point, Ned has to bring Lisa back. The Simpsons. Ned has to bring Lisa back because Bart had stuffed her in his doggy door, which is also a pretty hilarious image.
Yeah, there's a lot of good visual gags in this part here.
Yeah. And then Bart has had it with baby Lisa, and he's tying a knapsack bindle on a stick, gonna go live the hobo life. And I like that it's not just a stick; it's his what do you call the fake horse? Stick horse. My brain couldn't put the two words I had just said together. So he's tying his bindle on his stick horse. But I remember Gabriel had a trumpet. He's tying the bindle onto the stick horse.
It's like a horse on a stick. It's what do they call those?
Fuck. God damn it. I'm losing my mind.
A pony post, that's it. Sir, if you could leave Toys R Us. No, man, I just came up with it.
Oh, God. Oh, fuck. So he's gonna run away like, oh, they don't like me anymore, and I don't like you, Lisa, so I'm just out of here. And then Lisa says her first word, which is Bart, which completely turns Bart around, and Bart loves his little sister now, and that's how we got here. And it comes back to modern day, and Homer is putting Maggie to bed and says he says, the sooner the sooner they talk, the sooner they start talking back. So I hope you never say a word, Maggie. And he walks out the door, and Maggie takes her pacifier out and says, Daddy, and then puts it back in and drifts off to sleep. And I know how baby crazy you can get, Nathan. Mm-hmm. Did that flutter anything inside you?
I was searching adoption websites. We were there. We were there. And
I figured.
And I recall when this was a thing, like this shit was on the news. Like tonight, Lisa or Maggie's going to say her first word. Like which secret celebrity is going to voice Maggie? Yeah, like it was all over the place. It was like, and how anticlimactic this episode is too. It's like, yep.
Right. And I mean, it's a cute moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. But like, it didn't affect the story, like the upcoming episodes at all. Like, it's not like Maggie turns into a fucking Stewie Griffin and is part of
next episode she's not having monologues.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like how they unpacked Elizabeth Taylor from her mothball cocoon and fucking have her say "Dada" and go back into it. Like,
yeah, why not? And you pitch her voice up to where you don't know that it's Elizabeth Taylor.
Exactly. Yeah.
I didn't until I sat down to record this and looked up some notes. But I knew as adorable as that moment was, I was like, oh boy, I bet Nathan's ovaries are glowing now.
Yeah, just you can see him through my skin.
Through your clothes.
There's a dull glow in my lower abdomen.
Nate,
pulsing.
Nate, do you have flashlights in your pelvis?
I don't think so, but let me check.
Yeah, I figured you were all aflutter.
Yeah.
The flashback episodes I think are good from a storytelling and from a backstory, informational standpoint. But
I have to interrupt. I don't know what the background noise is on your end, but it sounds like you're trying to squeeze into a wetsuit. It's so great. It's like,
what?
Hold on a sec. There's like some kind of rubbing I'm hearing on your end. And I mean, hey, the viewers need to know. Are you going jet skiing after this?
No, I can't swim and don't like things that go fast. I'm definitely not going jet skiing. I wonder if my shoe is rubbing on the chair leg. Do you still hear it?
I just stopped hearing it now.
Okay.
No, I was loving it though. It's like wet, like a wet body squeezing into a wet, like synthetic fabric. Do you have a spin class after this?
Yeah, I'm getting into my leggings for my spin class.
Get my Spanx on.
Yeah, I'm really gonna attack the Peloton later.
Can't do those in my basketball shorts.
Yeah, I have no idea what that could have been, but
yeah, not the funniest episode, but it was fine.
Yeah, it was fine. I like the weird flashback to the Newsies days, and you know it's the 80s, and the Bart trying to get rid of Lisa bits were all right. Yeah. I just don't think the jokes are there in these episodes.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when they're just surrounded by monster episodes.
Yeah. Especially, like coming off of Mr. Plow, everyone's favorite Simpsons episode.
Yeah. And I would say the next episode, Homer's Triple Bypass, also a banger.
Yes.
I enjoyed this episode 11, I believe.
Yep, that's 11. I gotta agree. This was a killer.
It starts with Marge scolding Homer for eating in bed, and he has like the best combination of foods in bed with him. He appears to have some kind of chili or dip inside a like elevated cooker,
as well as like a turkey leg and a 2-liter of diet soda
and like half a wedding cake.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of talk right up the bat. Hey, Homer, you shouldn't be eating like this. It's not good for you. She tries to get him to eat oatmeal for breakfast, but he claims there's a bug in it. He just pours it down the drain so he can eat some sweet, sweet bacon.
Yeah. Just right in front of her. Hey, I made you oatmeal because I care about you. And just right in front of her, dumps it down the drain like an asshole.
Yeah. He gets to work, and he is immediately shoveling donuts in his face, and Burns is watching him on the closed circuit TV and is just disgusted by Homer.
Yeah, I mean, he just seethes anger while watching hatred. Homer. Yep.
So he calls him in to fire him, but then it's like this. It goes from him complimenting to like browbeating, and Homer's heart is just going cuckoo bananas this whole time.
And we have a little window down in the corner showing Homer's heart.
And eventually that window shatters.
Yep.
So Homer does indeed suffer a heart attack, and he gets hauled into the ambulance. And there's a great spot where the ambulance stops for a deer crossing.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how they know to cross here.
There's when Homer dies, I have 2 notes on Homer dying there in Burns' office. Burns immediately orders Smithers to send a ham to his widow. And I like that is like company. I feel like that's company policy to send a ham to anyone who dies at work.
Get that employee ham.
Secondly, we see Homer's spirit leaves his body, and I have it written in all caps. Is this from? Do you remember in last week's batch of episodes where Homer meets? Yep, where Homer meets God, and God tells him he has 6 months to live. Is this our payoff?
Would be. Look at that.
I was like, aha, I called it. But I don't know if that's actually the case. And this episode certainly isn't 6 months after that one. So
yeah.
But I thought maybe that was it.
I'll count it. Oh, another thing I got to mention too, when they go to the ER, they do a quick scan of who's all in the ER, and there's a lot of favorites of the Simpson Springfield universe. Groundskeeper Willie is there, shirtless. Jack as always.
Yep.
And Apu seemed to have like something stuck in his neck.
Yeah, I saw that too, but couldn't tell what it was.
But he's super casual about it. It's like that dude has nerves of steel. You know, working the late at a fucking convenience store will do that for you. He don't get shook easy.
No, that man has seen some things.
Yeah. So, it turns out his heart ain't doing so hot, and he needs triple bypass surgery. And Dr. Hibbert tells him he can do it, but would it cost $40,000? And there's a great scene where, like, it's so out of character. Like, he's discussing how weak Homer's going to be, because Homer thought he'd be just back to good as new, but nope. And he's just like treating him like a dipshit uncle treats a little kid, like grabbing his cheeks and ruffling his hair and doing the got your nose thing. And Homer's just so mild, can't fight back. It's so one of my favorite gags in this. Yeah.
And it goes on way too long.
It's so great.
And Homer is so meek. He's just like, no, please stop it. Like he's just bullying Homer. Just like smacking him real lightly and pulling on his cheeks and shit. Homer has such worry in his eyes, just like, stop.
Yeah. There's a great flashback too, where he's a young boy in church choir, and he's in this high angelic voice, and Grandpa Abe is in the audience like, that boy's gonna make me $1 million. That Homer just hits puberty like a fucking freight train. He just talks like he does now.
In mid-solo at this church concert.
And I remember that happening to me, too. Like, I could kind of sing a little when I was a little kid in church, and then, the biscuits drop, all of a sudden I sound like a fucking animal. I don't think he should be in Sunday school anymore. He should be in Bible study.
Now you have a man's voice to match your man-sized head on your little child body.
Yeah. My hairy toe knuckles. Oh, the joys of life. We really blossom in those years.
I think hairy toe knuckles should be your ghost writing nickname.
It's what I use when I write into a hotel. I don't want anyone to know where I'm at.
Yes, Mr. Toe Knuckles?
Yes, call me Harry.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, man. So they can't afford the actual $40,000 surgery. So thankfully, that's when our good friend Dr. Nick Riviera pops up on TV. He'll do any surgery for $129.95.
Which, what a sentence. I'll do any surgery.
It's such a great flat rate for any surgery.
Yep, just flat rate surgery. Why not?
Remove a mole or remove your brain, whichever you need done.
But also, boy, good to know. Like we come across these every so often, much like hitting the protesters with the car one earlier. That just jokes about someone not being able to afford life-saving surgery in 2020. Yeah. Sure,
and here we are, 27 years later.
Yep.
There's a great political hot take by The Simpsons. Like, no one can beat America's healthcare system except England and I guess France. And so he's like, well, pretty much anywhere in Europe.
Rattles off a few countries.
Then he throws like Uruguay or Paraguay under the bus.
Yeah.
So we're better
things have changed so much. Now we have the internet where you can beg strangers for money for your life-saving surgery.
Isn't that great? Yeah,
that's okay. The only people who die are poor. We don't have to worry about them.
Jeff Bezos is doing so well, and that's what matters. Good times. Everything needs to burn.
The trickle-down system works great for everybody.
You don't need to pay for dental work because you're going to have to sell your teeth to a rich person anyhow.
Exactly. And you can get health insurance through work, guaranteeing that you'll never get to leave a job you hate. It works for everyone.
Everyone. You are trapped. You are a wage slave, Marlin.
Hooray.
Yeah.
Everything's great.
Yeah.
At least Dr. Nick is funny.
Dr. Nick is funny. I wish there was a real Dr. Nick.
I bet you could find a doctor who would be willing to do any surgery for $130. I bet they're out there. I bet you'll die, but I bet they're out there.
And I don't know about you, but the episode kind of takes a more serious tone. After, like, there's a lot of Dr. Nick gags just for how there's that great where, like, there's all those reporters at his door. And he's like, ooh, perfect day to go outside. He just jumps out the
window. Yeah,
like
we get a lot of miles out of Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick has to do a lot of heavy lifting during what is a relatively serious episode.
And Ned Flanders is also in the room. He's going to give a kidney and a lung to whoever needs it.
To no one. Yeah.
First come, first serve.
First come, first serve. A lung and a kidney.
A lung is the part I love.
Yeah, like a kidney, sure, but a lung.
Yeah.
Jesus.
You kind of need both of them.
Like, you can live with just one, but, like, you only pull one out under the most dire of circumstances to save a spouse.
Yeah.
Or a child, but just whoever needs one. That Ned.
Yeah. So eventually they got to break it to the kids what's going on. And then Bart's like, but I won't have a dad? I mean, for a little while? Jeez, I had some forward thinking. Like,
yeah, just like, I mean, yeah, this will be temporary, but.
Yeah. And then Lisa decides to read up on the procedure Homer's about to get, which is a good thing because Dr. Nick has no clue what he's doing. And Lisa's there to kind of guide him through it.
Yeah, Dr. Nick needs this 8-year-old girl during the surgery to help him out.
I think Dr. Nick has, like, an audience for his surgeries.
Yeah, a surgical theater, like it's the
like at Johns
teens.
Hopkins, or
It's
like
like
a
that
medical
show.
school.
It's like that show, The Nick, with Clive Owen. I don't know if you've seen The Nick.
That is a premium cable name drop. You're gonna have to really explain. Pretty sure that was a Cinemax original.
I think so. It's either Cinemax or Showtime. Sorry to get too deep, but The Nick is very good. It's about medicine of that era, and they always do surgical theater, and it shows like, boy, medicine was sure fucked up back then. That's basically the show.
When in doubt, more leeches.
Yeah. Well, let's just rub some cocaine in there. You'll be fine.
There you go. Good as new. So there's some tense moments in the wedding, but Homer pulls through, and he's real groggy, and the kids and Marge are so happy to see him. And it kind of ends there. There's no real big goofs in the last minute or so, because it's kind of a serious time.
Yeah,
you know, like
he just gets through it, pulls through.
Good job. Good job, Homer.
Yeah.
Way not to die.
I'm glad Homer didn't die in season 4 of 30 plus.
Yeah, no shit. We've been culturally asleep. If that happened, we were shocked. But wait a second.
Holy shit. Texting your friends. What the hell? Homer dies in season 4?
Yeah.
How did that get by me?
Remarries a guy named Roger in season 8.
Yes, Roger Simpson. Have you not watched? There's a great moment. We've done this before with the Sunday school teacher, of her giving an answer that you didn't hear the question to. I believe the last one was like way early. If you think back to like season 1, where we cut to Sunday school and the teacher is just distressed and she goes, "For the last time, the ventriloquist goes to heaven and the dummy does not." There's one of those moments here where it cuts to Sunday school and she's just going, "And that's why sometimes God causes train wrecks."
Yeah, that was very good.
What the fuck was the front half of that story? I love that like, here's just an out of context punchline. I always think is a great joke. And last one, episode 12, another one that I definitely have heard. I usually know it must be a banger of an episode if I've heard the title of the episode. Much like Mr. Plow. And this is Marge versus the Monorail. Another one written by Conan O'Brien, the second
interesting.
In this batch. Fantastic Flintstones opening right off the bat. They do.
I'm about to hit the chestnut tree.
They do, and it's so good that it's them doing the opening, but without the dinosaurs and shit. So the guy actually blows the whistle, and Homer just slides out on a pipe, and then goes shooting into his car, except breaks the window, which Flintstone didn't have to worry about. There wasn't glass in the Flintstones. But I love that they put that much care into it, that they're like, well, if he does that gag, he's going to have to break the window. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, and then singing to himself to the tune of the Flintstones. We show Lenny and Carl, whose job it is to weld shut these barrels of toxic waste. And they're just chit-chatting. It's like, I love that they always, no matter what they're doing, talk as if they're standing around the water cooler. Yeah. I think those guys are great. And
very cheerful dispositions.
Yeah, and the more we see of them, the better.
Yeah, I agree.
So after it's welded shut, Smithers and Burns, they're going to go dispose of this in their usual shady, not playing by the rules ways. And they suggest for a second, well, we can dump this one with the last ones over at the playground. And Burns is like, no, there's some goody two-shoes that I think are on to us. So they go to the park, and they're jamming like full 50-gallon drums of toxic waste into the trees, the empty trees. Yeah. And Smithers is like, I think this one's full, and Burns is annoyed because he's like, what? That one held 9 barrels, and it shows this glowing tree with octopus tentacles coming out of it. And then a mutant squirrel, a normal-looking squirrel with glowing eyes, burns an acorn down with his laser vision and then eats the acorn out of the air with his frog tongue. So good. That entire chain of events. So good. So they're throwing all that stuff into the trees, and then the cops show up, and it's the EPA. I love that the EPA is portrayed as like 1920s detectives with their fedoras and their trench coats. And they're like, Boy Scout over at the school told us about you. So it turns out there were goody two shoes onto them at the playground.
I didn't even put that together. That is a great gag. Yeah.
I thought that was funny. And they wheel Burns into the court like Hannibal Lecter with the cage on him and strapped to the dolly and and it's not the leather Hannibal mask, but it's the cage one that he wears earlier in the movie. So good. Silence of the Lambs, #1, hands down, my favorite movie of all time.
It's tough to argue that, man. And it holds up too for a movie that's rough, getting close to 30 years old.
Silence of the Lambs is that movie I'll watch every 6 weeks, like just on habit. Just like, I haven't watched Silence of the Lambs in a month and a half. Here we go.
Gotta cheer myself up.
Yeah, I don't think it's a perfect movie, but it is my favorite one.
Ooh, it's damn close, yeah.
Yeah, I think in particular, the scenes where you're having characters talk directly into the barrel of the camera, I think, is fantastic. The entire night vision sequence at the end is tense as fuck all the time, and motherfucking Anthony Hopkins on top of it all.
Yeah, very well cast movie too. Yeah, like Buffalo Bill's pitch perfect.
Yeah,
it's a good.
So they wheel Burns in, and the court orders him to pay a $3 million fine, which he has on him. And Smithers just
cash.
Smithers just hands the judge cash and done, which is a great joke about how fucking companies just get away with shit and pay the fine and don't change their behavior at all. Just like, all right, we're good. And then there's a town meeting Mayor Quimby calls on. We have this $3 million. How do we spend it? Everyone has different ideas. Marge's idea is to fix Main Street. They show Main Street as being just a war zone.
There's that great gag where that popcorn truck falls into that giant hole, and then all the popcorn comes up.
Yeah, it explodes, and then all at once, just woof, all the popcorn is up over the street, which is good. They show Marge says something along the lines of, we just destroy it by leaving our chains on and overloading our cars, and it cuts to Homer with the chains on and a piano strapped to the top of the like a grand piano, not an up against the wall piano, strapped to the top of the station wagon, just digging trenches in Main Street, commenting, "Look at the asphalt fly." So good.
I do notice too later in this episode that they're watching TV and there's an ad for Truckosaurus the movie. It's like, God, that crack. It's like, Truckosaurus is back.
Yeah, well, I was glad to see Truckosaurus again. And they're like, Truckosaurus voiced by Marlon Brando. And so he's like says a line to this car that he's holding and then drops it, and then it says celebrity voices impersonated.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think. I think that's pointed at us, the viewers of The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Rather than pointed at Homer watching that trailer.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah.
Which I thought was good. So they're deciding how to spend the money at this town meeting. Marge and Abe kind of accidentally has everyone sold on putting the money into Main Street and fixing it all up. And then in comes Lyle Lanley, who is a monorail salesman.
Damn monorail salesman.
And voiced by Phil Hartman, so it just sounds like Troy McClure is selling you. I love that all of Phil Hartman's characters are the same voice. He doesn't change it at all, which I think is perfect.
With the shyster lawyer, too. That sounds just like Troy McClure.
Yeah, Lionel Hutz, Troy McClure, and now Lyle Lanley, all exactly the same voice. So he rolls in to sell them on the fact that they should spend that money instead on a monorail, and which doesn't make sense for this town at all, which Lisa points out later. But he has a song and dance, and he's a smooth-talking huckster and convinces the town to spend Mr. Burns' $3 million on this monorail. There is a good moment before this during the meeting where Mr. Burns, in a fake mustache, is like, I think we should invest it in the nuclear power plant. And somebody's like, wait a minute, and Smithers pulls out a grappling hook, grabs Burns around the waist, and gets them out of there.
Yeah.
Which was so good. So Lyle Lanley has the town sold on this monorail. He establishes a conductor academy where they're going to train and hire a conductor for this thing. He makes a visit to Lisa's school and talks to the class about the monorail, and she brings up, can you explain why, with a small town and centralized population, that this is a good idea? And he basically is just like, no, I can't, but you and I are the only ones smart enough to get this. And she just takes the compliment. She's like, oh, yeah thanks. He's very good, Lyle Lanley.
Were there two princes in the room? Because that man's a spin doctor. What up?
Oh, shit. God.
Did it. See,
did you have that written down?
Oh, man, it came to me right now. I was like, ooh, chomping at the bit to get this one out.
That's why you've been quiet for 2 straight minutes.
I've
You're
been frantically texting you. 37 missed texts. Marlin. Spin doctors, Marlin. Two princes, Marlin.
You're over there just vibrating, waiting for me to take a breath.
Angrily hear me punching my phone. I'm losing momentum here.
Oh, God. Don't move on from this scene. They eventually get it built. It's very shoddily put together. Homer is named conductor because it's The Simpsons, so of course Homer is named conductor. Marge not into this the entire time, and she decides she knows there's something shady about Lyle Lanley, and goes to his office, which is just a bumper trailer, parked out in the wilderness. And looks in his notebook, and it's funny because you expect it to be like a ledger or something like that, but it's just stick figure doodles of like him holding a bunch of money and running off to Tahiti while like the town he had just sold it to is on fire or something like that. Like that's the incriminating evidence, is his stick figure doodles.
Yeah, I love when Marge goes to the town that
so
Lyle bragged up. That town is just in shambles. It's a ghost town falling apart at the seams because of that goddamn monorail.
North Haverbrook is not doing well. The town is clearly destroyed by the monorail. You're left to assume it's because they sunk all their money into it and then it fell apart. Pretty literally fell apart.
Yeah. We ain't got no monorail. She slams that door shut of that cafe or drive-in she's at Marge's at.
Yeah, and on the sign it says Monorail Cafe.
Yeah. Then that weird like German scientist becomes a part of the storyline.
Yeah, she picks up like a German Doc from Back to the Future. Doc Brown. There we go. And so she heads back to Springfield to warn everybody this is a bad idea and that Lyle is not on the level. So they get there and they're just about to launch the thing. They're doing a red carpet event of all the celebrities showing up. And we see Lurleen, the country music star that Homer had managed for a while in that episode.
Home wrecking Lurleen Lumpkin has the nerve to show her face.
After trying to steal Homer away from Marge, but we see that the universe has done some hard justice on poor Lurleen because she looks very disheveled, and Kent Brockman says something along the lines of her being fresh out of rehab. Lurleen has had hard miles put on since last we saw Lurleen. You know how
business, man.
country music is.
Yeah.
All the excess and the drugs in 90s country music.
A lot of pills.
Yep.
A lot of pills. Gotta get those uppers for the show, downers to get to bed.
Yep.
The vicious cycle.
It's like wrestling that way.
Yeah. So there's a lot of, is there much difference between Mark Chestnut and Chris Benoit? I mean, I don't think Mark Chestnut murdered his wife and child and hung himself with a Nautilus machine.
But then again, when's the last time you heard of Mark Chestnut? We don't know what he's doing.
I don't know what that guy's up to. I don't know if he has a home gym.
Of all the wrestlers you could have said, that's the one you went with.
I kind of thought they had similar builds. Both short in stature.
Okay. I guess I don't know enough about Mark Chestnut's height. Well, that's not a statistic I wander around with.
Well, that's going to change. I'm going to give you some YouTube videos. You're going to let me know what you think.
I'll see if I can kick out Gabriel in his trumpet to make room for Mark Chestnut's height.
For more Mark Chestnut bio info.
So the monorail launches and they're off and everything's going well at first, but not for very long. And then everything starts to fall apart after like one lap around the town.
Nothing works. Everything's just a sham.
Yeah. And it's going haywire. And there's a pretty good sequence here of Mayor Quimby and the police chief.
Kind of a...
Like going back and forth on
heads,
who has the authority to handle this situation, to the point where they go to what looks like the library or probably City Hall and are reading like the old charter from the frontier days of who has what responsibility. And every so often, because there's a window behind them, every so often the monorail full of screaming citizens goes flying by for just a second as they're debating on who gets to take point on this.
As sheriff, I'm supposed to get like a suckling pig and like a comely lass.
And Quimby's like, give me that. How many broads do I get? Or however he says it. Because Quimby's also a dirtbag.
Yeah. Chief Wiggum's more interested in that suckling pig.
Oh, for sure. So the monorail finally... the scientist, the weird German scientist that Marge brought back, is on the radio and tells Homer to try to use an anchor, and that would be the only way to stop this runaway train. And then so Homer like pries the M off the side of the train that says monorail and takes a rope from a cowboy who's on the train for some reason.
Casually spinning a lasso.
Yeah, doing lasso tricks sitting in his seat, and ties it off and throws the M out the window, and it cuts. There's a long sequence of it just destroying parts of Springfield. It's gouging into the pavement the whole way. It goes past the sea captain, who we get again, pokes his head out like, that's not an anchor, and
he's like running an anchor shop.
Yeah, he owns an anchor store in addition to an all-you-can-eat seafood buffet, apparently. It splits conjoined twins in Hibbert's office. Like some good ridiculous jokes.
Destroys the home of Jebediah Simpson.
Yeah, because it cuts Springfield's oldest tree which falls onto the boyhood cabin of Jebediah Springfield. Real good quick fire lightning round jokes there. And then eventually it hooks a giant donut.
That's what it is, yeah.
And the train stops and everyone's able to ride down the inflatable slides like they have on planes that always look like a lot of fun. And then Leonard Nimoy is there. I forgot that he's there during all this.
Yeah, he's the celebrity they get.
Yeah, he just like pokes his head in for a joke here and there, and then does the like fade away teleporter thing at the end to go away.
I get the feeling that The Simpsons is so big now, the writers write in people that they admire just so they can hang out with them for an afternoon.
Yeah,
like, and that episode does not need Leonard Nimoy. By God, I'm sure those writers geek the fuck out about it.
Yeah, and I bet that they I bet they just write them in assuming they can get them, and they just always are able
damn
to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, we'll just write in, Sting during that Krusty episode. Yeah, he'll come on here, and then he did.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's how that goes. But I see why the monorail episode is a big episode, because that is a good one.
Yeah. And then when it cuts to like the other disastrous decision Springfield has made, like the giant house made out of popsicle sticks, and then the 50-foot magnifying glass.
My favorite is the last one, which is the escalator to nowhere.
No, how casual those people are right to the very end. Like,
just all the way riding up the escalator, and then barely a scream when they go over the edge. It's just
Hey, wait a second.
Yeah, and that's the gag you're left with.
Yeah,
hell of a batch.
Damn right. Yeah,
loved all of these. The flashback one is what it is, but still a good episode. Just not a laugh till you hurt kind of episode,
which we're getting so many of now.
Yeah, the jokes are dense. That's the only way I can describe this show these days is dense with jokes.
Hot and heavy.
It's also during this batch that I learned that you can, on Disney Plus, switch to 4:3 aspect ratio. Because I remember hearing way back when these first showed up on Disney Plus, some purists being upset that they changed the aspect ratio because it cuts off the top and bottom and you sometimes miss out on sight gags.
Yeah, and there's one in this batch episodes, it's like a far high up shot. There's something going on at the bottom that's a gag, and you kind of miss it.
And I wonder if we're talking about the same one. For me, it was the one where Laura and Ruth move in next door. There's a moving van at the bottom, and you can't tell what's written on it.
Exactly, yeah.
But I was like, I remembered, like, oh yeah, I wonder if they ever fixed that, and Googled quick. There's a setting in Disney Plus you can change that, and I did. So I'm rolling 4:3 from here on out.
There you go. Well, I might have to follow your lead.
Yeah, it's in if you go to like the main Simpsons landing page on there and go to details, it's just a toggle that you turn off.
Yeah.
So no more missing jokes.
Go with that 4-3, unless you got a good set of linebackers. Then you go 3-4. What up? Football reference.
Football's
season
back.
Kickoff today, baby.
Football is happening right this second, and we're missing it. That's how much we love doing this show.
Because we love you. Never forget who loves you, dear listeners. We love you. No one else ever will, except us.
I don't know. Okay, you sound like a cult leader all of a sudden.
I mean, cult's a strong word.
I had to look up real quick. So my beloved New Orleans Saints are playing Tom Brady's Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and right now they're up 34-17 over the Bucs. Suck it, Tampa Bay.
You need to go run and catch the end of that game and bask in it.
Yeah, 8 minutes left in the fourth. So I think we got this. Not even, well, I mean, Tom Brady can score 17 points in 8 minutes. He can do that. So I won't be too big for my britches just yet.
Yeah.
Did your Vikings win the game earlier? They were playing.
They got embarrassed.
Oh, I thought they were out in front at first.
Yeah, I mean, at first, like after like the 8-minute mark.
Huh.
I think the Packers scored 19 unanswered points after that.
Oh, good.
And if for those that aren't football fans, that's not what you want.
Anytime you hear the phrase unanswered points in any sport, it's not good. But we will stop with the football talk, I guess, and gear up for another episode of America's Barley Basket next week.
Yeah. If they want to reach out to us and tell us how their lives are going, how do they do that, Marlin?
And not only can they, but they should. I want to know how lives are right now.
I'm already trying to imagine most of you in my head. It'd just really help if I knew a little more about you to paint a better picture.
I would like to know how and why, I'm not like mad about it, obviously, but I would like to know how and why we got a huge download spike in Ireland this week.
Oh,
what? Like a significant download spike in Ireland.
Our sweet Irish angels. God bless them all.
God bless every one of you. I don't know what happened. I'm glad it did. Welcome. We talk about Simpsons sometimes on the show, but you can reach out if you'd like and let us know what is up in Ireland or elsewhere on Twitter at Barley. At Barley Basket USA, and then Gmail. You can email us barleybasketUSA@gmail.com. Let us know how the world is where you are.
Let's hear it. Let's talk. Let's lay it out on the table.
And next week's episodes are Season 4, episodes 13 through 17, which will be our next batch. And then I think we will be fairly close to the end of Season 4. Season 4 has 22 episodes in it. So we're getting there. We're going to get past the midway point soon.
We're doing it.
Hell of a season. So.
Oh, my goodness, yeah.
We'll continue it next week.
Oh, you still there?
Yep. I was expecting you to say...
Yeah. I thought it went dead. I was like, what happened? Because, we've been having that issue. I was like, we guess we could just end it there. Is Marlin being a diva? I'm tired of this. Click.
I feel like I just underhand tossed you a beach ball and it just hit you in the face.
It just hit me in the thighs and landed in front of me. I just slowly looked down. Oh. And I just walk away.
God damn it. Well, I guess that's the end of the episode.
There we go. Have a great week, everybody.
God damn it.